franchisor value is not just getting you in the business and teaching you the business, it's taking you to that next level.
Yeah.
And, people assume that, I'll get here on my own, and I'll get here on franchising, and I'm paying royalty, so I'm here. The reality is you're here on your own in a franchise system, you're way up here. So the value, long-term value of a franchise system is absolutely there.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of FranCoach's Franchising 101 podcast. I am Tim Parmeter, founder and CEO of FranCoach and your podcast host. Today we're going to have one of our franchisor partners come in and talk to us about their brand. This one is all kinds of unique in that it is going to hit on several different industries, not just one. It is going to touch on, and several of them that are booming, never ever going to go away. There can be projects, there can be long-term relationships. It is low overhead, low investment, easy to ramp up and scale, and grow big businesses. And I am very eager to learn more about this one as well. So stay tuned. That's next. First, who the heck are we? And FranCoach, we are the premier franchise consulting firm. Our number one goal has nothing to do with selling you anything we don't sell here at FranCoach. Our number one goal is to properly educate you on franchise ownership to help you determine if you should own a franchise. If so, then we're going to help you find your absolute best fit. This is an incredibly individualized and personalized thing. The focus needs to be on you. There's no such thing as a best franchise, a top franchise, best industry. None of that stuff exists. It's all about you. And so today we're going to help educate you on one of our franchise partners. That's next. All right. We are back on the Franchising 101 podcast. And joining us today, we've got one of our franchise partners. I'm super stoked to talk to these guys. With us today is the CEO of TrueBlue Home Service Ally, Mr. Sean Fitzgerald. Sean, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me on.
Excited to chat with you. And I don't get paid by the word, so we're just going to shorten TrueBlue Home Service Ally to TrueBlue today. Are we okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. And I've got a bunch of questions. I am incredibly intrigued and love the things that you are doing at TrueBlue. So want to definitely get into all of that. But franchising is a people business. I love hearing the stories. And last week we had Trevor Rapley from Franchise Filming. So the king of storytelling in this industry. So now I'm even more in tune to the storytelling of things. So give us the Sean scoop, man. How did you give us a little background? How did you even get into this crazy world that is franchising?
Yeah, no, great question. So I was fortunate enough. I started a business when I was in college and eventually grew that business and franchised it. So
cool.
That's my exposure to franchising. And the reason why we franchised was the fact that to be successful in the business that we had, you had to have great customer service and be very passionate about what you were doing. And we struggled finding managers that had that same passion that an owner does. Because I looked at myself and it's like, how do I replicate myself? Well, the missing component was I was the owner and I was all in, and it's really, really difficult to replicate that. So we went the franchising channel and it worked out great for us then. And I've just kind of stayed in the franchising industry ever since. So it's been, I hate to say it now, but 30 years in franchising, and I've worked with many different concepts, different industries, different brands, and eventually ended up at TrueBlue.
So while you were in college, you were starting a business. That was a very different experience than I was having in college at the same time. So way to go, overachiever. When you started your business initially, did you have a vision of it becoming a franchise, or was it just like, hey, this is how I'm gonna make a little money buy some beer on the weekend?
Yeah, no. So my father was a serial entrepreneur, and he had a concept that it's like was interested, but he couldn't do it. He was busy doing other things. And I was in college and just, going to school and just working odd jobs. And I was like, okay, it was winter. And I was like, I'd rather do something indoors than working outdoors. So let's do it. So the vision initially was not really there, but what was intriguing was it was in an industry, it was retail, and it was automotive accessories. So, and it was truck accessories going into the 90s. So it was something that was really hot vehicles with that, trucks. I think 9 of the top 10 selling vehicles in the United States were trucks and SUVs. And we were different and unique in the sense that we made it a retail experience, whereas the auto industry is very non-retail, at least back then.
Yeah.
And I just remember my dad sending me to a parts store to pick up a part for my mom's car. And I don't know anything about cars, so I didn't know anything. And he said, just go get a brake light switch for your mom's car. And I was like, I don't even know what that is. How do I do this? He's like, don't worry about it, they'll help.
Right.
So I pull into the auto parts store. I walk in, I was like, I need a brake light switch. He's like, well, what kind of car is it? And I was like, oh, I think it's an Oldsmobile. What year? I was like, I don't know. What model? I was like, I don't know. And he yelled at me. And he said, well, how am I supposed to help you? And I shrunk and I walked out, and that experience was so bad that stuck with me for the rest of my life. And when we did this automotive concept, I thought to myself, no one's ever going to walk in and feel embarrassed about anything, and they're going to have a great experience. And what happened was, because we were focused on retail, the experience was completely different than they've seen anywhere else. And the SUVs started replacing minivans. So we started seeing a lot of women in a store, which is really, really neat for automotive type parts and so forth. And it was just unique. And it was all about the customer experience. We weren't selling anything you couldn't get anywhere else, but we grew, and people loved the business and loved that opportunity because of the fact of how they were treated. And I've just kind of taken that approach through all the brands I've worked with, because that's something that I think can differentiate yourself in something that you can control. And so I love that aspect.
No, that's fantastic. I would probably still have the same experience walking in there of, like, even on what year, maybe I know this, like the brand I got past that, I've got no clue. So, well, cool. And then, so we kind of go through this journey, and now we get to TrueBlue. And you've been there for about 6 years running everything. So first off, tell us what is TrueBlue Home Service Ally?
Yeah, so it really stems from, at its core, we're classified as handyman, but we're truly unique because we're focusing on helping seniors age in place. And it's not all the parts in like ramps and walkers and wheelchairs. It's more about the home environment itself and the basic care of the home environment. And my experience going back before TrueBlue was in franchising. I worked my way into senior care, and I was executive vice president of a senior care company, and that's where I learned the senior care industry. And while I was there, we realized that the home environment was a challenge to age in place successfully. So you can go get modifications ready for the house. You can get companion care, medical care in the home. But the challenge that we were having was falls, and the fact that no one was really taking care of the home, which was leading to falls and complications.
Right.
So this was in the 2010s, and I went looking for a solution because we were experiencing it from a senior care business. We were losing revenue, and we were having workers' comp claims because a lot of these homes were well maintained and the caregivers were getting hurt. I went looking for something, and there was nothing there. And I remember thinking to myself, this is a great opportunity that someone will do and figure it out. And the opportunity is tremendous. So fast forward about 5.5, 6 years ago, I learned about TrueBlue, and at the time, they're approaching it like a handyman business for, and targeting seniors, and understanding the senior industry doesn't work that way. Anybody in the senior care industry knows that seniors don't pick up the phone and ask for help. So you have to work the different channels of influencers, which would be the medical community. And the decision makers are typically the adult children. And so the senior needs care, falls, whatever the doctor says, they need help at home. You need to make sure these things get taken care of. And the first question is, okay, who can help us with that? And so when I looked at TrueBlue and I felt like, hey, if we kind of pivoted and we approach this model like a senior care model, which is networking, connecting, establishing yourself in the community, especially the medical community locally, there could be something really exciting here. And I was doing great. I was chief development officer for another large franchise system. Went home to my wife and said, I've got this crazy idea of kind of starting from almost scratch with this brand and taking a chance. But I think it's one of those things in life where you look at the demand, the opportunity, the positioning. It wasn't hard to connect the dots to say, wow, this is a great opportunity. And I obviously jumped in, take leadership of TrueBlue at that point, and reposition the brand from not only a branding perspective, but also our business model perspective. And, focusing on engaging with the medical community, which was timing's always great. It was 2020. So,
Right.
2 months in and then COVID hit and the whole medical community shut down. So, it was an interesting challenge, but you know what, Tim, it was what we learned. And I learned this in other industries was I knew that we had to have a higher standard to be able to connect, network with the medical community, but also provide service to seniors. You would never send a caregiver into a home that hasn't been background checked, screened, or insured.
Right.
So the first thing we did was we're going to raise our standards. So we're going to have our employees, they're going to be screened, they're background checked and insured. So we have this high standard. Well, during COVID, when the medical community shut down, we couldn't network. What happened is that non-seniors were saying, well, I want those standards too. Because the minute you open your door to your home and let somebody in, that's the most vulnerable place in the world.
Yeah.
And so we would hear a lot of like, do you guys only do work with seniors? Like, no, we do. We work with everybody. And our higher standards just propelled us. And so those two components combined has made this ride really exciting, and our growth just through the roof.
I always think this is kind of a yes business, right? So pretty much whatever that customer could potentially need, right? And I know there's the positioning side of it is handyman and home repair, whatever that might be, with that initial focus on the seniors. But there's probably not a lot of things people ask you, can you do this? And you guys say no within the home. So you're really building that. It may be a project, but there's going to be long-term relationships where people you're that trusted person they can come back to every time. Is that right?
Yeah, that's where the Ally came in. And so, one of the things we were rebranding is like, I'm very big on storytelling and branding and marketing. And marketing is about your feeling and what you get. And TrueBlue Home Services was just what we did. But what you get as an ally, and that's the ultimate goal. So we approach the business so much differently. Is like we shifted from transactional to relationship. Our goal is just to be their home ally. So they'll call us for everything. Even if we don't do it, at least we can then refer it out and have a partner from that perspective. And that's what our kind of focus is. And that's what we developed. And one of the things that we kind of preach to as well is that there's no job too small for us, because the goal is the relationship. The goal is that you'll call us for everything. And so many people in our industry go the other direction. It's like, well, it's not big enough. I'm not going to do it. And it leads to an industry where there's an underserved market of simple projects. And that's kind of our sweet spot. And, with unique to our business model, which stemmed from the senior component, but then really transformed into all customers, is the ongoing maintenance. Maintenance packages. And I always joke around and I say, I want to be the Jiffy Lube to the home. And what I mean by that is I led with, I was not mechanically inclined. So when I was, a teenager, I knew you're supposed to have oil in a car. I didn't know you're supposed to change it. And so to me, it was like a lawnmower, just check, is there oil? Yeah, it's good. And also Jiffy Lube comes around the 90s and it pounds everybody's, brain that you need to get routine maintenance and you're crazy not to. And here we are today, and everybody who owns a vehicle gets their cars maintained and serviced regularly without question, the home is the same thing. There are so many things around the home that need to be done on a routine basis to prevent major issues. And the vast majority of homeowners don't do it. And why? It's just like the automotive. They don't know what needs to be done. And so that's where we come in, and we have a very prescriptive maintenance package. We're very simple. We come in once a quarter and take care of those things that need to be done either on an annual basis or a seasonal basis to make sure that the entire home is running smoothly and save a lot of money for homeowners.
Yeah. Well, and you think again, from the senior standpoint, I think of my 80-year-old mother, right? I don't want her like climbing on a ladder to change a light bulb or a battery in a smoke alarm or basically like, I don't want her on a ladder for anything, right? At this point. And so like, again, you can see how you can build those relationships because especially in the senior community, but all of us, we want to have that trusted person, right? They were like, that's my guy, right? When I need something, I can come have them do that. And so though, again, that was really targeted towards seniors, like, we all like to use the word busy, like, oh, Sean, I'm so busy. I'm busy. Those programs and packages can roll out to any potential customer, senior or not, correct?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. We've identified busy adults, single parents, and active seniors, in addition to seniors. So a lot of times when people think about the senior industry, they think of care and they think of, like I said, walkers and wheelchairs, but there's a huge demographic of seniors who are not in need of care, but need help around the home. Particularly two reasons. One, they're busy. Like I have children and my weekends are full of sports and dance recitals, and you have it. I don't have time to do things like that on the weekend. I'm working during the week. Yeah. So it appeals to me, but you raised a great point, which I think is the real interesting component of our business that I'm really excited about is coming from senior care. It's all about fall prevention in the home. And I believe that most falls occur because seniors are doing things they should not be doing. And that's simple little thing that you and I can do, changing light bulbs, moving furniture. But for a senior, that's a life-threatening situation. Yeah. And I believe that by having a solution where they can take care of the home environment, keep it safe, keep seniors off those step stools, and or picking up things around the yard or whatever it is, and making that home environment safe on a long-term basis. Because before TrueBlue, you could get a senior home safety assessment, from we do those, but you can get it from an occupational therapist or doctors will do those type of things. Senior modifications are nothing new, right? Grab bars to stair lifts. But what is the ongoing challenge is the little things around the home, and having a solution is really key that we feel for that holistic approach to aging in place. Not to mention, like my father, I live in Cincinnati, Ohio. My father lives in Pennsylvania. I can't help him with little things around the home. So having a solution like this is extremely valuable. And believe me, the medical community has identified it and appreciates it, and embracing what we're doing. And so that's another exciting aspect.
And yeah, and I love all that. And you talked about the small jobs, right? That you think was somebody's maybe listening and thinking about this. Well, geez, why do I want to do the small jobs? Because the small jobs can lead to the big jobs, or it can lead to more small jobs. Like my wife and I were literally looking, and a couple of them were franchises too. For painting, we needed one room in a house painted. It was too small of a job. Well, what happens when we decide we want the rest of it, or we're going to buy another house at some point? It's going to need painted. You could have been our guy, but now it was deemed too small for you. And so it's being able, like, I think anything that you can do to get in the door and build that relationship. If it's a small job, great. I've done a good job. You're happy. You're going to call me again. You're going to tell your friends, your family, whatever. So I didn't want anybody to, because sometimes people think that's almost like a negative. And my gosh, it is just such an amazing way to get in the door. Again, you're going to say yes, you're going to make them happy. They will call you again. Right. So,
it's a marketing strategy. And, you're right. The small jobs lead to bigger jobs. And that's the difference between having a transactional mind, like looking at every job and the little jobs, we still are just as profitable as the big ones. Right. It's just the ticket's smaller. So right. The margins are relatively the same. And, when we have owners that understand that it's about the relationship and the ally, because the average homeowner, statistics show, average homeowner spends about $5,000 to $6,000 a year on maintenance and repairs. So if you're going in to hang a mirror or do some small project, the ultimate goal is to lock them in as clients for all of their needs. And when you do it well, it's not too hard. And that kind of leads to one thing that if people are looking at a business opportunity or franchise, or, particularly TrueBlue, we're not looking for handymen to be franchise owners. We are looking for people who are marketers, people who are sales, people who can build teams, appreciate people. Because you got to, like I always joke around and say, our customers are people, our employees are people, and our services are done by people. So if you don't like people, this isn't it. Right. But there's such a high demand that our owners spend their time educating their communities on our services, and they have to be visible in the community. And if you're picking up a hammer and hammering nails, you're not visible in the community. And so that attracts a lot of different backgrounds. And we have a lot of people who have very skilled backgrounds, professional backgrounds. We even have physicians now who are joining TrueBlue because they see how badly this is needed. And the opportunity, again, I think it's just the demand is high, the opportunity is huge, and it's not going to slow down. People are going to live longer. The demographic is only growing, and it's not going to change.
Yeah. You mentioned, and you hit the thing I was about to ask. Like, so as an owner, there's always kind of the misconception, oh, I'm going to be the doer. I'm not a handyman, so I can't own that. But then that usually when you say we're not looking for you to swing the hammer. Every now and then you're going to get people that are going to have that concern. And I am the least handy person on the planet. I'd rather my 12-year-old do some project than me, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to come in here, maybe like I see all the value, I want to be an owner, but I'm like, geez, Sean, not only am I not handy, I don't know anything about this. How could I possibly manage the people doing that type of work? How do you kind of like help people get over that concern?
It's real easy if you look at it from approaching it from roles and responsibilities. And let's just take, for instance, let me compare it to senior care and senior industry. People who buy senior care franchises, they're not doctors. They're just regular people. They hire caregivers that are trained to do care, and they hire nurses to run those plans of care and manage that component of it. And they're out, actually, the owners themselves are the marketers, and they're building teams and building an organization. So we're the same way. And so what we tell people is, you're going to hire people who have experience, and you're going to hire technicians. You're going to just be the marketer and the recruiter for your business in driving revenue, and which every owner should, be focused on is driving revenue, because that is the key to all business, is driving revenue. And if you're not actively involved in it, then you better have somebody who's really good at it running that for you. And, the other thing too, Tim, I always talk to people about, because I think it's a misconception of franchising, is that you got to be passionate about the service. Or like I hear people like, oh, I love the food. Well, you're not going to eat the food all day long. So you got to love the business, or you got to love the role that you'll be taking that matches your skill set. Because at the end of the day, and one of the franchises I used to work in I was in the wireless industry, right? And that's cool industry. And I would hear candidates tell me, like, well, why are you interested in opening up a cell phone franchise? And they'd say, well, I love cell phones. I think they're cool and I love technology. And I said, well, you understand this is a retail business. So it's just SKUs and part numbers you're selling. You're not opening the phones and playing with them all day long. You're selling phones. You're retail. So you got to love that. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful in it. And I think when people open their minds to matching the skill set they have, and then they'll have energy going in every single day to do, they'll be more passionate about the business and don't get hung up on whether it's painting business or whether it's a senior handyman business. Look at what is needed to be successful in it. If it matches your skill sets, success is fun, and match that up, and you'll be surprised at how much you'll enjoy a successful business that may not be cool.
Right. And and I'm so glad you said that, because I will always say to people, like, really hardly anybody owns a franchise in something they've got tons of experience in, right? And it's we call it the get out of bed test. You're the one's got to get your butt out of bed and go do this every day. What are you doing? And those people that you're around, right? And you already said, like, your staff, your customers, who you're out there connecting with in the community, right? Those are the things that drive it. And it's always and I want to come to this, the third thing I think is that franchisor themselves, not but again, the people. So talk a little bit about some of the ways TrueBlue as a franchisor is helping their owners. And I always say helping, it's not your job to do everything for them. That would be awesome if I just kick my feet up and you do all the work and give me millions of dollars. But back in the real world, that's not how this works. So talk about some of those support mechanisms that you guys have in place to really help your owners.
Well, I'm really proud of our support system. I mean, I've been doing this a very, very long time, and I've seen all different industry brands. I think we have a very robust support strategy, and not only strategy, but the methods to do it, a very detailed process. And so, how to recruit employees, how to retain employees, how to find customers, all of that stuff is just really kind of step by step. And we have the manuals for all components of the business. We have our booklet called The Marketing Method, which is how to market TrueBlue in your community, all phases, owned, earned, and paid. And so, and referral. And it's a step-by-step process to do this. And we have this playbook for all aspects of the business. So whatever you're focusing on that moment, you can go right to. Then in addition to that, we obviously have our coaching calls where we group our owners together, one-on-one calls. But the real thing that owners get a lot out of too is our best practice calls. We have a monthly best practice call led by franchisees on what's working, what they're doing, and open up the franchisees to be able to ask questions. So the combination of access to our systems, support in our systems, we have very detailed financial components of our KPIs, because KPIs are going to tell you where to focus and where to improve. And coupled with the network of franchisees. This is one thing too, for people who are looking at franchising and thinking, why would I do a franchise or do it on my own? Well, I started a business and number one, I'll never do that again, because you have to figure everything out.
Yeah.
And the beauty of a franchise is you're not figuring things out. You're just executing. You're skipping the hardest part of starting a business.
Yeah.
The other aspect of it, too, is the fact that when I had a question, or in my market, in my industry, the only people I could actually answer that question were my competitors, and they weren't going to give me that answer. And so being part of a franchise community, you have neighbors and other franchisees who are that, and it's a great value add to have support of the franchisor, but also the community of franchisees that have probably been in that situation that you're just in, and like, oh, here's how I handle it. And it's just, the value there is just incredible.
I think it's the most under talked about, underappreciated part of being a franchise owner is the other franchise owners in your system, right? You have your built-in like support group. Yes, the franchisor and all their people are going to be great and help you, but nobody understands better what you're going through than your other owners. And so, you know this as well as I do. There are some brands that are like almost kind of deliberately want their owners to stay on their little islands out there. But so I love the fact that you're talking about these different things that are like proactively bringing the owners together so they're communicating, so they're learning from one another. So better everybody does, the better everybody does. So
one thing I'm really proud of, Tim, is I hear from our vendors all the time that we have the TrueBlue owners are really great people. And I think it's a testament to our mission, vision, core values, because what attracts people to TrueBlue is not only the business opportunity, but the purpose behind it, that they are helping their community. And you have to have a level of empathy. You want to provide, reliable and trustworthy services. And to look at the business that way, you got to have a team mentality and approach. And we have our owners feel the same way, that they want all of them to succeed and they want to help. And that empathy, I think, comes through with a lot of our owners. And that's why I think we have such a great community of owners that are sharing best practices on a regular basis. And we get really great attendance at those calls and our conference because they see the value in it. And then, again, I think, like you said, it's the most undervalued aspect of franchising. That it's not a tangible thing that you think of when you're looking at franchising versus doing it on your own. But someone who's done both, been on the franchise side and started a business on their own, I can appreciate it even more, because it's not, I always say to people, franchisor value is not just getting you in the business and teaching you the business. It's taking you to that next level. Yeah. And, people assume that, I'll get here, on my own, and I'll get here on franchising and I'm paying royalty. So I'm here. The reality is you're here on your own in a franchise system, you're way up here. So the value, long-term value of a franchise system is absolutely there.
Yeah. You used a word I want to come back to during the vendors. So talk to everybody a little bit about, what you mean by that and some of the benefits of, again, being in part of a franchise system, buying power, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So whether it's software systems that we use, the products that we sell, even marketing vendors, whether it's, digital marketing companies and organizations, all of those are the vendors that support our system. And the value of being part of a franchise system is that we vet all that out. And try to figure out what is the best software solution for these services or marketing solutions. And we're constantly looking and we're constantly upgrading. That's the other value of franchising that people don't think about, is what's coming down the road. As the leader of TrueBlue, my brain is 3 to 5 years out. I'm thinking about what TrueBlue looks like, what the industry looks like, what's coming down the road, and how are we preparing for that. That's really hard to do on your own, because you're so focused on operating the business. So now the beauty of a franchise system is, as an owner, you have to worry about executing today, and you're not have to worry about what software I'm going to use next year or what's coming down the pipe, because the franchisor is working on that and focusing on that, so that you can focus 100% of your attention on operating your business. What is going to propel you past any competitors that are not franchised, because they're not doing that.
Right. And you again, things you don't have to figure out. And then usually a lot of times those vendor relationships, it's vetted companies that are going to be good to help you, but also sometimes even at a lesser price than you would pay if you were just out there like Billy Bob in his pickup truck.
Without question. Significant.
Yeah, it's always crazy with that. Right. So I want to come back to one other kind of service element of this business, because there is again, we're going into the home and we're helping people fix and make things better. How do realtors come into play for you and your owners on kind of growing their business?
They're a huge referral source for us. So we kind of bucket our referral sources into medical, senior, and non-medical, non-senior. And realtors are huge. They're a huge referral source for us. And they love TrueBlue because, one, we're professional, and they want to make sure that if they send someone to a client's home, that they look professional and aren't embarrassed. Two, we do little projects, and a lot of times, someone's house is going to go on the market, like, oh, you need to get that
Right.
kitchen leaky sink fixed. You're going to need to get this front door squeaking, get that taken care of. And we're more than happy to do that type of work. And the other thing too is that we're a very efficient organization. We coach our owners to make sure that they have openings in their schedule, because if the goal is to get more customers and build relationships, and you call me up and say, hey, I need this sink fixed, and I'm like, okay, we're available in 2 months.
Right.
You're not going to wait, right? So our model is geared to make sure that we have flexible schedules to get new customers in. In a realtor, they don't care about price. They care about getting it done
fast.
So they can get that home on market, get that home sold. And after it's sold, there's home inspections, and they want those things done so they can close.
Right.
And so that's why they're a great resource for us.
And right then, whoever just bought that house, now they may have some projects that they want done in that house. Well, all of a sudden, like you're the person, right? And so when you went back to that owner, like, are you a people person? Can you get out and connect and build these long-term relationships? Maybe a small project, but if I'm doing a whole bunch of them, and then you're getting additional referrals, it can be an incredibly powerful opportunity for folks. So
it just snowballs. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do we need to start this, right? We don't do we need this big, 20,000 foot, class A real estate? Do we need, 50 employees? Do we need a bunch of French fries? Total opposite, right? We need very, very little to start with. What's that look like? Office equipment and staff.
Yeah. This probably one of the most affordable franchises investment range you can get out there. And, many of them start home-based. And because we're going to the customer, you don't need to have fancy offices or anything like that. So many of them start home-based. We do encourage them to get vehicles. It's not required, or wrap vehicles and so forth. So the flexibility to grow into the business is there. So the initial investment is under 100,000 all in. It's not a lot of employees. You don't need a lot of employees to get started for sure. And so it's a low investment, low monthly overhead, and high margin. And so, being in business for a long time, I love that.
Those are good. Those are good things, right?
Yes.
Really, your owner is they're the one, the people person out running the business. You got that kind of craftsman, technician, whatever, and the vehicle. And then really as the business grows, then now you're just adding more another person that's out there doing the work with this, right? All that what could be home based.
Yeah, it's easily scalable. And that's the other thing that I love about it too, is that's what we treat our owners to do, is to build teams and scale. And you're almost like having many little handyman businesses within the business. Yeah. And that's the beauty of it. And then if you're marketing and networking, it just organically continues. This industry, especially TrueBlue, time's on your side. Yeah. The longer you do it, as long as you're taking care of customers and doing the right things, word of mouth, referrals are going to keep flowing, and you just got to get that locomotive kind of moving. And once it gets moving, it doesn't take a lot of energy and inertia to get going faster. And that's the exciting piece of this.
Yeah, I love it. So, Sean, I appreciate all of the stuff with this. I want to throw one more thing at you before we let you go and get back to your real job. So, and kind of open-ended here, I'll just fire this at you, but anything particular you'd want us to know about TrueBlue that maybe we haven't touched on just yet?
Yeah, there's a couple things. I mean, I think when you look at this, especially the opportunity with just homeowners and the maintenance packages, that makes this a unique opportunity. But what's really exciting as well is where the senior industry is going, and the potential for TrueBlue in the future, because what we're working on and what we're seeing is that we believe a lot of the services that we provide are going to be subsidized in the future. We're beginning to see that now. Many states are now in their Medicare programs and Medicare Advantage programs covering aging in place. And they're actually, you can get senior modifications covered under that. What my ultimate goal in the future, I hope, is that our holistic approach to aging in place, where we're taking care of the home, is viewed as fall prevention in a preventative type of way to keep seniors healthy, but even the medical community with non-seniors healing in place, right? Because hospitals are now kicking people out of the hospital right after surgery. Yeah. They don't want them readmitted. And the number one reason for readmittance is falls. So I think we play tremendous, we have a tremendous opportunity and play a significant role in that aspect. And that could completely open the floodgates to a tremendous amount of opportunity and revenue for our owners, which we haven't even scratched the surface on. And you can see it coming because this aging in place is here today. There is not enough nursing homes, assisted living facilities to house everybody in the future. They're looking for solutions, and we play a role in that.
Got it. I absolutely love that. I need to get one of these a little closer to where I live, so I can be a very good customer for somebody. So, Sean, I thank you so much for taking the time today and chatting with us about TrueBlue Home Service Ally. So thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you, too.
Hey, thanks again to Sean Fitzgerald, the CEO of TrueBlue Home Service Ally. Love what this franchise is doing and the growth potential there. We hope, as always, to all of our loyal listeners for tuning in, that this helps provide some insight into the amazing possibilities that are out there in the world of franchising. Be sure to, wherever you're listening to us, man, please give us a like, a follow, a subscribe, whether it's Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to the podcast. Don't forget our YouTube channel has the podcast plus all sorts of other things, including our Franchising 360 show. But you can also find every Friday, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific on Biz TV. When you are ready to learn more for yourself and figure out if this is the path for you, francoach.net is where you're going to find us and our team at FranCoach. What are you waiting for? Reach out. Let's chat. There's never, ever any fee for our service. So let us help you create your better tomorrow. We'll see you all next week.